Your lights are on, computer's on, mixer's on, you're ready to go. What's the first thing you got to do? Well, you want to make sure each of your camera operators, TriCaster operator, and teleprompter operator is wearing one of these headphones. Here you have 4, one of which is the master. You can tell it's the master because it says ProLink 500 Master. You always want to turn this one on first. To do that, you just turn this dial, and in a few seconds, this light will turn green. Once it turns green, you're ready to go, and you can turn on the other 3 headsets. Usually, the master should be worn by the TriCaster camera switch operator. We're going to turn this off now since we're not going to use this, and plug it back in. Once everybody has their headsets on, you want to put the wireless lavalier microphone onto the anchors. However, you want to make sure you don't connect the cable like this because this looks very unprofessional. What you want to do is unplug the microphone from the transmitter, and then you're going to pass this through your anchor's shirt. So if you could go ahead and pass that through your shirt, Daniela. Okay. And then you're going to plug the other end back into the transmitter. And then you could attach this onto your anchor's belt. I'm just going to leave it there for right now. Now you want to make sure that you don't plug it in with, or hook it on with the microphone on the inside of the shirt because you won't be able to capture the audio that well. What you want to do is hook it up so that the microphone is pointing up and it captures their voice as good as possible. Once your anchors have their lavalier microphones on, then you want to make sure that the camera operators are set up and good to go. First, make sure that their wireless intercoms are also turned on. So Daniela, go ahead and turn your intercom on by rotating this knob right there. Okay, good. And now you'll notice now that the green light is going to turn on. Now, if the other camera operators are hearing her too loud, you could simply lower the mic gain so that her mic is not as loud. Furthermore, it's important to make sure that you're all on the same channel, be it A or B. If you're not in the same channel, you're not going to be able to hear each other. The camera has some very basic controls that you're going to want to learn how to use. The first thing you should know is that by turning the knob to the right, you'll zoom in, and by turning it to the left, you'll zoom out. If the speed of the zoom is too slow, you can simply adjust the knob on the top of the controller to make it faster by turning it to the right or slower by turning it to the left, and then proceed to zoom in or out as necessary. The TriCaster camera switch operator will be instructing you as to if you should zoom in on anchor 1, anchor 2, or get a shot of both of them. Now let's go over the individual camera settings. These are going to be relatively consistent since you're going to be in the same setting nearly every day. However, if these cameras for one reason or another leave the studio and the settings are changed, it's important to know how to put them back. If you come over here, you'll see that there is a button labeled FUNC for function. If you click here, you'll be able to adjust the rec programs. There are 5 different programs you can use. When you're starting off, it's all right to use the P, TV, or AV functions because they allow the camera to adjust some of the settings automatically. However, for a more manual control, you could select M for manual. This allows you to adjust the aperture, shutter speed, and decibels. We'll not be going into the specifics of these as they are very technical terms. However, you're more than welcome to do research on how these functions work. For studio purposes, the aperture should be as open as possible on f2.2. The shutter speed should be around 1/100. And you could have the decibels at a nice low number like that. You want to have a nice exposure on the face, so we can zoom in here. If you notice the skin tones are too red or too blue, you can adjust these with the white balance settings. You come to function, and then you hit white balance, and then you have a variety of different settings you can use. Most of these are automatic and they're configured for example, let's see, daylight settings, shade, etc. But if you want to control these manually, you can come over to Kelvin. Now, the higher you raise the kelvins, the more red it will become. The more you lower it, the bluer it will become. Now, I'm not sure if you can see it through the camera, but it's relatively blue. So what we want to do is raise the kelvins raise the kelvins to make it warmer and the skin tones look more red. Again, you don't want any extremes, but you want the skin tones to look warm. And that's pretty good right there. You don't want to mess with these functions unless absolutely necessary. These should be about the same every day, so there is no need to be changing these. As a camera operator, once you're standing here with your headset on and you're ready to go, you'll be receiving instructions on what to zoom in on, what to zoom out. And you may notice that at times the tripod might be a bit stiff and produce some jerky movements. The friction can be adjusted over here on the side of the tripod head with this knob. This makes the movements faster by turning it to the left, so you can make quick jerky movements, or you could turn it to the right to tighten this and make it more slow and controlled. Usually you want to keep it somewhere in between so you can adjust quickly without making noticeable jerky movements. To adjust the side-to-side movement, you can come over here and you see there's a knob that you can adjust by turning it either counterclockwise to loosen it or clockwise to tighten it. This will have the same effect but on the side-to-side movement. Thank you for watching these videos. I hope they have been helpful. Now it is up to you guys to come here and practice so that you can stream your own morning announcements. Thank you.